哟，你觉得某某 Express 很快对吧？我要跟你讲起来吼，民主外送更快。Because Trump just spent less than 3 hours to deliver democracy to Venezuela. And the internet is completely losing their shit. But do you know who's really losing it? Xi Jinping.
Oh, bother.
This has very little to do with Venezuela and everything to do with the CCP. The World War III logistics battle has officially begun. So for the CCP, hold on to your butts and 准备你的 honey glazed 爆米花 because 民主外送正在路上哦，代志大条。So, it's official. The most pro-China regime in South America, and Xi Jinping's best friend, who happens to look like Stalin by the way, has been arrested, serving as a huge pimp slap to Xi Jinping. Now, some of you might be thinking that this is all about drugs or oil or even regime change. Nah, it's all about China.
China's investment via China Concord Resources, CCRC, at Lake Maracaibo represents much more than a technical project. It's a strategic move that reconfigures energy, commercial, and diplomatic relations in Latin America. With $1 billion allocated to the Alula floating platform, China is not just seeking oil. It seeks influence and energy stability, and a dominant position in the Western Hemisphere.
So from this 20-year deal, China would have been able to increase their daily oil production by 1% by the end of this year. And in addition to Venezuela, Iran, and many other African countries, they are planning to increase their oil supply because word on the street is 2027 was going to be a big year for China. But now, with Venezuela taken off the board, who is next?
The president writing on Truth Social early this morning, quote, "If Iran shoots in violent peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go."
So the logistics war has already begun. And without Venezuela and Iran, China will lose 27% of their oil supply. So I tell you once again, this operation is all about
China.
The U.S. imposed sanctions Wednesday on 4 Chinese companies and vessels tied to Venezuela's oil sector. It's the Trump administration's latest move against Venezuela's Maduro regime. And this time, it also sends a rare but strong signal to the regime's close ally, Beijing. The U.S. Treasury announced the newly sanctioned firms on Wednesday. One of them is based in southern China's Zhejiang province, and the other 3 are based in Hong Kong. That's alongside 4 oil tankers with ties to those firms. U.S. officials say the global shadow fleet transporting Venezuelan oil has been serving as the regime's lifeline. Zooming in on China's role in Venezuela's oil industry, China's private crude refiners account for about 1/5 of the nation's refining capacity. About 95% of the Venezuelan regime's revenue comes from oil, and China is its biggest buyer, despite U.S. sanctions.
Now, to understand all this, you must first understand the timeline. 10 days ago, America gave Taiwan the biggest arms deal ever, and China was pissed. 5 days ago, China conducted military drills in our own backyard. America's unofficial, it's kind of complicated, but not really ally, Taiwan, and America was pissed. 2 days ago, Xi Jinping sent his diplomatic crew to Venezuela to talk oil, and America was pissed again. Then, 12 hours later, just yesterday, while Xi Jinping's diplomatic crew was still in Venezuela having talks, America decided to come in and completely dick slap Xi Jinping.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up!
But don't get it twisted. This ain't all just because of oil. The other thing that pissed off the Republican administration was that China was trying to set up a weapons base in America's backyard.
What exactly is happening in Venezuela? The answer is simple. Venezuela is no longer standing alone. Things go to an entirely new level once China enters the picture. Beijing is reportedly supplying long-range surveillance radars, electronic warfare systems, satellite-linked command and control, artificial intelligence decision assist software for automated interception. If Russian missile systems are the shield, then China just built the nervous system controlling it. Together, these systems give Venezuela the ability to detect launches from long distances, react to incoming threats within seconds, jam surveillance satellites and disrupt enemy drones. In short, Venezuela is no longer just armed. It's becoming hard to detect, hard to monitor, and extremely hard to attack. Venezuela now has the ability to create a no-fly zone stretching hundreds of kilometers. That range could potentially cover parts of Colombia, Trinidad and Tobago, and areas used by U.S. patrol aircraft in the Caribbean. If fully operational, Venezuela now holds the strongest air defense network in the entire Western Hemisphere, outside the United States.
Now, the last time something like this happened was a long time ago under the guise of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And now China is trying to do the same? Bruh, Republicans are balso as fuck. And unlike their Democratic counterparts, they will never take it from behind.
Why are you gay?
So, China tried to f around in America's backyard, then they tried to f around in Taiwan's backyard, and they keep threatening us Taiwanese with war. Well,
China sends a clear warning to Washington. Beijing has urged the United States to step back from any potential military action against Venezuela, issuing one of its strongest statements yet, as American naval and air assets increase their presence in the Caribbean. For Beijing, Venezuela is far more than a distant partner. It is one of China's most significant footholds in Latin America. Since 2007, China has invested or loaned over $60 billion to Venezuela, securing major stakes in the country's vital oil industry. Venezuela has continued shipping roughly 200,000 barrels of crude per day to China this year, helping sustain both its economy and Beijing's long-term energy security strategy.
And there's even some pro-CCP Taiwan lang who shout out in the air, China #1! Venezuela 有中国的武器，要小心哦，事情很大条咯。
那真正用到中国的武器的时候，那就是美国。如果你登陆委内瑞拉，你登陆看看，你打打看啊！你看这些武器，中国的武器，可不可以制止你？绝对可以制止你。
Well, we touched them, and apparently China's radar systems don't even work in Venezuela. So what you gonna do about it, nigga? Because America don't play defense. We only play offense. You done gone and fucked with a country who changed its name from Department of Defense to Department of War.
Do not fuck with us.
Real talk, the war between America and China started a long time ago. From COVID to fentanyl to Douyin Wangjun to Taiwan. We are at war now. And the result is a lot of pro-China Wangjun and CCP bootlickers have started victimizing themselves. And they want justice for Venezuelans.
Today is a dark day in the USA.
I work with over 30 Venezuelans who say otherwise. They are all celebrating.
Dear Venezuelans, I am sorry for our idiot president. Sincerely, most Americans.
I'm a Venezuelan living in Venezuela, and I am currently celebrating the fall of a terrible regime. I want to express my gratitude for the support and leadership of your president.
青朵差不多要出来帮忙解释，美国爸爸入侵别人国家的行为合理化喽。
合理化? We are at war, and there are only two sides to choose, the China side or the America-Taiwan side. So as you can see, these goofies are simping for the CCP and becoming outraged and offended on Venezuela's behalf. And even in America, there are some cities that are showing their so-called solidarity with Venezuela. This dumb behavior reminds me of that really famous meme.
Do you find my outfit offensive?
Yes.
Why?
You don't really understand what their culture means and what it means to wear these things. You sort of have to understand where all of this comes from for it to not be cultural appropriation.
Does my outfit offend you?
No. You look nice.
Do you like my costume?
Yes.
Does it offend you?
No.
So with all this outrage and noise, that leaves one big question. How do Venezuelans feel about this whole thing?
Venezuelans celebrated in Peru with people like Milagros Ortega talking of returning home.
My dad, being a political leader in Venezuela, was able to see this change. He used to say, "Daughter, when you go back, when this government leaves, you'll return to Venezuela." And to know that my dad in his lifetime was able to see the fall of Nicolas Maduro, look, for me it's an emotion. I would like to see his face.
It means that they waited so many years for a chance at freedom, and it's finally here. So it's 26 years of, of waiting and waiting for a better Venezuela that's free. And now they're going to be able to all go back and enjoy with their families.
I came in this country when I was 10 years old, and ever since I was born, every single person in power of the country has abused us and abused of their power. We have been living in a dictatorship for about 20 years. So I can tell you, this feels like a breath of fresh air.
Here are Venezuelans in Spain celebrating by doing a sort of limbo under a Venezuelan flag by the looks of it. And that's in sharp contrast to the scenes we saw just before the break of protesters outside the White House in the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. Only a handful with megaphones and a sign there, "Hands off Venezuela," it says.
Breaking news, Venezuelans are happy as fuck. Now, to all the Wang Jun who are definitely going to be in the comment section of this video simping for the CCP and shitting on me, allow me to leave you with some very graceful words from the former president of Venezuela, Maduro. Don't worry, be happy.
La, 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 la. Don't worry, be happy.